All right, we're making great progress, and welcome to module number 17, Ads Manager versus Power Editor. Now, I get asked a lot, should you use Ads Manager or Power Editor when creating dark posts? I mean, I probably get asked this several times a week, right? Because so many people are not sure which one to use, and I use both. And so what I want to do is I want to dive into some details on each one, hopefully to help you out, hopefully to help you to be able to make a better decision on which ones you want to use and when you want to use them. So let's start off by reviewing the ad copy rules and the formats. Now, pull out your pen and paper because I'm going to give you some details right here on some of the ad copy rules. And what that means is these are the, when you're creating the copy, when you're creating what you're going to say in the ad, Facebook has some rules that you have to follow. So let's just dive into them. Rule number 1, your ad cannot start with a punctuation, cannot start with an @ symbol or an exclamation point. Rule number 2, it cannot have duplicate consecutive punctuation characters. So you can't put like 3 exclamation points after each other. Now there's one exception, which is 3 periods. In that case, they actually allow that. So you might want to use that. Words cannot be greater than 20 characters in length. And that's each individual word. So don't plan on using supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in your ads anytime soon. All right, only 2 consecutive 1-character words are allowed. You can't say A space, right? You can't do that. You have to have, for whatever reason, you can't do it. Okay, that's pretty obvious. All right, it cannot consist entirely of capital letters. You can't have caps lock on your full description or anything. Now, that being said, you can capitalize certain words, and that's actually very beneficial if you want to make them stand out in the ad. And I do that often. And the last one here, double spacing is not allowed. You can't put 2 spaces because Facebook's just going to adjust that. All right, so let's jump down. Let's look at both ads real quick. Let's look at Ads Manager and Power Editor with these limits. And before we do, let's just jump into the limits, some more limits within the ad, okay? Some character rules. When you're creating the title of your ad, it's got to have 25 characters, right? And this is primarily for Ads Manager, but just keep this in mind. Your ad title can be 25 characters. The body of the ad can be up to 90 characters. The URL, pretty much more than you'll ever need. It says 1,024. I've never tested that out. I don't know why Facebook says that, but you're never going to have a URL that long. Individual words, they can each be 20 characters. We already addressed that. And then here's what's not allowed. Equal signs, slashes, underscores, all that kind of stuff. These are items that are not allowed. So Facebook just won't allow any of this kind of stuff in their ad copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump through an example of the same type of an ad. But let's take a look at it in Ads Manager first, and then let's look at Power Editor. Okay, and I'm going to give you a teaser. Power Editor is going to have a little bit more flexibility, and you're going to see that here. All right, let's just jump right into Ads Manager to start with. So here's an ad. I got a thumbnail on the right, and all it needs now is a headline, some text, and a description. Okay, so as you can see, the arrows and the boxes starting at the top. The first one there is headline. That can be 25 characters. Now, headline and text should actually be swapped because headline is not what goes on top. Headline's actually what's going to go just underneath that picture there, just underneath that thumbnail. It's going to be what the link is, essentially. That's called the headline. That can be 25 characters in length. The next one is text. Your text can be 90 characters. That's what's going to go above the ad. Text is what's going to go above that thumbnail, okay? So underneath where it's that picture of me and where it says Chris Record, just underneath that and just above the thumbnail, that's where that text is going to go. 90 characters is a decent amount to work with, but you're going to find you're often limited when you're creating dark posts. You're going to find you're wishing you had more space. Then on the bottom there, you got the news feed link description. That's going to go underneath the link, underneath the headline, essentially. And that description can be 200 characters. So that's where you can describe a little bit more what they can expect to get when they click on your link. So this is kind of what it looks like when you're creating a dark post using Ads Manager. Now let's jump over to Power Editor so you can see the flexibility. So here's a completed ad. I wanted to show it completed in Power Editor. Now, I could have even done more than this, okay? So let's start off. The headline. You got more space. So as you can see, underneath the picture, you have the headline. It says, seriously, get the free ebook. You got more space there. I could have made that even longer if I wanted. The body, you got more space. That's what's on top of the picture there. So you can see right there, clearly that's more than 90 characters, and I could have used a lot more space. I could have probably put a whole nother paragraph even. So that's the power of Power Editor. It gives you a little bit more flexibility. Okay, and the description on the bottom there obviously has more space as well. Plenty of space there to be able to do what you want to do. So Power Editor gives you a lot more space when you're creating ads. Okay, I'm going to be as clear as I possibly can here to help you, and I'm going to break down when I use each one. That's my goal here. The best way to do this is to answer some questions. These are questions that I frequently get, and I'll try to answer these questions, and I'll try to tell you in which scenario Ads Manager might be better or Power Editor might be better. So let's go ahead and kick it off with question number 1. Chris, I am limited on time. Well, if you're limited on time, my recommendation for you is going to be Ads Manager, because Ads Manager is just going to be a lot easier to use. It's a lot faster, at least in my experience, to just whip out ads really quick using Ads Manager. So if you're short on time, Ads Manager is your go-to resource. Question number 2, Chris, I'm new to Facebook ads. I'm a beginner. Well, if you're new and you're a beginner, the answer is Ads Manager. I'm definitely going to recommend Ads Manager to you there too, because it's just easier to learn. It's kind of dumbed down a little bit. It's very self-explanatory. Power Editor is actually, I'm going to be honest, it's quite confusing. It's quite complicated. It's a little bit more advanced, right? So if you're new, you're a beginner, start with Ads Manager. Question number 3, Chris, I'm not that technical. I'm not that advanced. Well, I may have already given you a hint then what to do. The answer is Ads Manager. If you're not that technical and you're not that advanced, you're going to want to use Ads Manager instead of Power Editor. Question number 4, I want a lot of social proof. Chris, I want as much social proof as I can get on my ads. I want a lot of likes. I want a lot of comments. I want a lot of shares, as many as I can get. The answer is Power Editor. Power Editor is probably the better way to do that. Okay, and later on in this section, not just necessarily this module, but even other modules, I'm going to kind of break it down. But in this module, I'm going to show you a cool breakdown that you're going to really like. So during this whole entire course, you're going to really see the power here of Power Editor. But I got to tell you, it is advanced, so you want to be careful. But stay tuned. I'm about to show you something pretty fascinating. Question number 5. Chris, I want a lot of ad control. I want more control. I want more options. The answer there is Power Editor. Power Editor is going to give you more flexibility, more ad control, and more options. So you might be wondering, which one do I use? Well, the answer is pretty obvious. Both. I like both. I use different ones for different reasons at different times, right? For example, for page post engagement ads, I use Ads Manager. I tend to feel like it's fast, it's simple, and honestly, I don't even need any more options than what Ads Manager gives me. I don't need fancy stuff in Power Editor. So when it comes to page post engagement ads, that's just what I use. I use Ads Manager. Now, clicks to website ads, okay, which is my favorite one. If they need social proof, if I feel like they need social proof, I'm going to use Power Editor. If they don't need social proof, if they don't need a ton of likes, shares, and comments, I'm going to use Ads Manager. So for clicks to website ads, it totally comes down to whether or not they need social proof, okay? Because clicks to website ads are amazing for selling products in the newsfeed. But in order to scale out, you're going to want to have multiple campaigns, okay? Let me repeat this. Clicks to website ads are amazing for selling products in the newsfeed, but in order to scale out effectively, you're going to want to have multiple campaigns. For example, let's say that I wanted to sell a Niners hoodie. For those of you who don't know about the Niners, that's the San Francisco 49ers, right? So let's get right into it. Let's say I wanted to sell a Niners hoodie. I could target all fans of the San Francisco 49ers, but that would be a super broad audience. I would prefer to segment that audience, such as one ad going to Niner fans in California, and another ad going to Niner fans in Florida. Those would be 2 separate campaigns with 2 totally separate budgets, okay? And if they converted well, heck, I'd do several states. I mean, literally, I'd branch out maybe to all the states, right? So look, what is my point here? That your choice of whether you use Ads Manager or Power Editor is going to be based on this. This is going to be the decision here, right? With Ads Manager, you have to create multiple dark posts in order to run multiple campaigns. Now, I'm gonna go slower here. I want you to understand this. This is powerful. When you use Ads Manager, you have to create multiple dark posts in order to run multiple campaigns. Meaning, you cannot run multiple campaigns to one dark post, okay? With the exception, obviously, page post engagement ads, but we're talking clicks to website ads here, okay? That means that your likes, your shares, your comments, it's going to be divided between those posts. Let's say you have 10 posts. Let's say you had 100 likes total. You're going to maybe have 10 per post instead of 100 likes on one post, right? So instead of having one post with huge engagement, you end up with multiple posts with much smaller engagement, okay? Now look, this is still fine in many cases, but it's worth knowing. I want you to understand this stuff as much as possible. You might even have to review this a couple times to really get it. Once it clicks, I know you're going to get it. Now let's talk about Power Editor. With Power Editor, you can run multiple campaigns to one dark post. Literally, you can run as many campaigns as you want to one dark post. This allows you to build a ton of engagement on a single post. And this builds you a lot of social proof. This is where you get that big social proof, and it makes your post seem far more popular in the newsfeed. And this can give people more encouragement to buy, more confidence. If they see that 1,000 people or 5,000 people like something, they're going to be more confident that it's something great. Let's illustrate this. Now, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Don't even worry about everything you've just said, even if it was in one ear out the other, if it was too advanced for you, whatever. I'm gonna draw it right here for you in a very simple to understand illustration. First, let's start with Power Editor. This is kind of what it looks like here with Power Editor. See what I'm saying? On the left, you have all your ads. All of those ads can point to one dark post. And that one dark post, so all those ads feed to one dark post. That one dark post gets all the engagement, gets all the activity. Okay, you can have different tracking on each ad though, which is cool. And that dark post feeds out to your sales page. So with Power Editor, you get some amazing flexibility like this. Okay. Now with Ads Manager, let's look at how it's different. With Ads Manager, you'll have each ad there going to its own dark post, and then each dark post individually going to that sales page. So you see the difference there. Instead of all the ads running to one you've got dark post, you've got each ad running to its own individual dark post there. Okay, so an ad and a dark post are more combined with Ads Manager, and then they all lead to a sales page. So if your goal was to have as much engagement on one post as possible, clearly Power Editor would be the right choice. But if you didn't mind having multiple dark posts, multiple ones, duplicating them in Ads Manager and just changing one small thing each, such as the state, is going to be a lot easier in Ads Manager. It's just going to be simpler. It's going to be easier. Okay, that's what I do all the time. And there's actually a huge benefit to Ad Manager if you were duplicating states. In fact, right now I'm going to share this with you. I do this a lot. This is where it gets creative right here. Okay, so there's the upsides and downsides, right? Since you have to create a new dark post with each ad, which at first it may seem like you want to use Power Editor, but this is where Ads Manager comes in cool. Since you have to create a new dark post with every single ad, the upside is that you get to change the text in each ad. Each dark post is a brand new ad. So the upside is you get to change the text in each one. So your ads could say something like this. Here's what the text might say to draw attention. Are you a diehard Niner fan living in Los Angeles? So your ad would target people who are 49er fans who live in Los Angeles. And now in the text, you could actually say Los Angeles. Okay? Because in the next ad, you could say this. Are you a diehard Niner fan living in Arizona? And you could actually make Arizona all caps. That would probably even be better. So do you see what I'm saying here? The upside is that, hey, if you have to create new dark posts with every single ad, you might as well change the text and have the text tailor more to the specific audience that you're targeting. All right? So you see the downside is that the posts will have less engagement on each of them. But the upside is that you can customize each post to better target your audience. And this is a technique that I've used to sell just a ton of t-shirts, just a ton of stuff. Okay? Not only t-shirts, but just different products, different stuff. And I'm going to be weird and say I actually like it. I think in a weird way, I've actually had more success using Ads Manager, using the traditional tool that Facebook gives me. Because I love the idea of duplicating an ad and making a small change. Duplicating an ad and making a small change. If I was targeting cities or states, every time I just go in and change, California to have it say Texas, to have it say Florida, to have it say Arizona with every ad. So I kind of like it. Okay, so I'm speaking from personal experience here. Now look, anything else would begin to get too far advanced. There's going to be some people right now that got this far, and you're probably thinking, man, that was advanced. And there's probably somebody that already advanced. You're thinking, hey, that was pretty good. But listen, that if I went too much further on this, it's just going to get too advanced right now. So I'm going to save any further discussion for our group. When you purchase this course, you got to be part of our mastermind group. So if you have questions about this, you want to get further understanding, I'd be glad to do a separate webinar or a separate video or some separate blog posts or just answer questions for you. Make sure you understand this. You might even need to go through it again. So in summary, Ads Manager versus Power Editor, which one's better? Go through, watch those visuals again. For me, there's different reasons for each one. Really, if I had to summarize it, if I had to basically give you the ultimate summary, I would say this. If you want a ton of engagement on your ad, if you want to get that ad up into the thousands and tens of thousands of likes and comments and just make that thing go super mega, every time people see it in the newsfeed, it's got huge social proof, then use Power Editor. If you don't mind if your ad has just a few likes on it, but you want more customization in terms of tailoring the ad to each different audience that you're targeting, then use Ads Manager. And that's the best way that I could summarize that up. So hopefully this wasn't too complicated. Hopefully you actually learned something cool and something new today. And I look forward to seeing you on the next module, which is module number 18, Researching Posts.